Prices of gaming handhelds are becoming insane. So with that in mind, I challenged myself to make the best version of the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme without breaking the bank. And what I came up with was even better than what I expected. This is my ROG Ally Super Edition, and today I will tell you exactly how I made it. It competes with the best handhelds available right now, and the price tag will probably shock you. So what's so different between my ROG Ally Super and the one that you have at home? Well, my ROG Ally has the exact same screen, same Z1 Extreme processor, same 16 gigabytes of RAM, but I upgraded the battery, upgraded the storage, swapped the loose low quality joysticks for Hall Effect Joysticks that are much more precise, and lastly, I swapped Windows out for the more efficient and easier to use SteamOS, making this a handheld that rivals even the ROG Ally X, except for a lot cheaper. So how did I accomplish this for so cheap? First off, the Ally Z1 Extreme can be found for cheap regularly, oftentimes for less than $500 new. Used ones can go for even cheaper. So that is where I started. Now, once you have your cheaper Z1 Extreme ROG Ally, the first thing you should look into buying is the JSAUX Battery Kit. The JSAUX Battery Kit gives you all the tools you will need to safely open up your ROG Ally and swap out the battery for the new included 65 watt-hour battery. Better yet, it also includes a new heatsink that improves thermals along with a new backplate that actually improves the grips of the ROG Ally, which on the original are nearly non-existent. However, the trade-off with this is that it increases the weight of the Ally, so keep that in mind. If you want to see a full guide and review of this kit, go check out my extensive video on it after you're done watching this video. Also, while you're at it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. But regardless, the JSAUX kit is about $79.99 USD, and that now brings our total price up to $579.98. Next up, let's talk about swapping the joysticks. So actually, this is where I ran into a big hurdle on my mission to make the ultimate ROG Ally. Hall Effect Joysticks I found just do not work well with the vanilla Ally. In fact, I found while doing research, the left one won't work at all due to the magnetic interference with the Hall Effect triggers. At this time, I became hopeless that I could foresee my vision. That is, until I stumbled upon joysticks that were specifically designed for the original ROG Ally that use a film that blocks magnetic interference. While these were more expensive than regular joysticks, being priced at nearly $30, they were my best option, and they even gave me the choice to choose between the original loose feel or a tighter, more precise joystick. Well, obviously, I went with the precise joysticks, and I do not regret it at all. Replacing them was a breeze. All you have to do is open the back shell, remove some cables with the provided tools, or be an idiot like me and completely disregard the tools and pop in the joysticks, apply the sticker on the left joystick, and seal everything back up. With the addition of our specialized Hall Effect joysticks, which were $24.99, it brings our total price up to $604.97. But while you have your ROG Ally cracked open, you might as well replace the SSD. I opted for a 1TB SSD because it's cheaper, and honestly, I don't really need to store too many games on here. The SSD I used was a Team Group 1TB 2230 SSD, link in the description. And replacing it was a breeze. Open the back of the Ally and you will see the existing one immediately. Just unscrew it and carefully pull it out and replace it with the new one and screw it back in. The 1TB SSD upgrade cost me $75.99, which brings our total cost thus far up to $680.96 USD. But if you want to clone your data and Windows over, you will need an SSD cloner. However, I opted for downloading SteamOS onto it instead, so not needed, but something to consider. Which brings me to the last step that I took to make my ROG Ally Super, downloading SteamOS. So why download SteamOS, you might be asking? Well, the reason I wanted to load SteamOS onto my ROG Ally is simply because Windows 11 is clunky. Also, SteamOS has proven to improve performance and battery life. I enjoy the simplicity of being able to just turn on my device and be able to hop into a game with ease. However, there are some drawbacks to this, as I have mentioned many times in my Steam Deck OLED reviews, as well as my Legion Go S with SteamOS review. And at this point, you might also be asking, was the process difficult? Well, the process was a bit of a hassle for me because I wanted to figure out if I could dual boot it, but I honestly just lost my patience and decided to just fully load it and remove Windows altogether. If you do want to dual boot, however, an easier way to dual boot is to use Bazzite. I did a video on that with my Legion Go if you are curious about how that works as well. So now let's talk about performance gains that come with SteamOS. SteamOS does increase the performance on the Z1 Extreme as well as its efficiency. This is due to the lack of bloat from Windows and background processes. This, paired with our 65 watt-hour battery we installed, is going to get you the most mileage out of the handheld as possible. So SteamOS overall really does complement our ROG Ally Super build. In fact, the battery we installed is a larger battery than the one that's in the Legion Go S SteamOS edition that I also reviewed. But here are the performance benchmarks I did before and after loading SteamOS onto our ROG Ally. Here, in Cyberpunk 2077 on Windows, we got an average FPS of 52.54. On SteamOS, we got an average FPS of 58.69 FPS. In Monster Hunter Wilds, we got an average of 18.68 FPS on Windows, which is really, if we're gonna be honest, unplayable. And on SteamOS, we got an average of 23.63 FPS. So if you do like a filmic way to play Monster Hunter Wilds on your handheld, well, you can on SteamOS. In Far Cry New Dawn, we got an average FPS of 39 on Windows and 41 FPS on SteamOS. Not much of a difference, actually, surprisingly. But there are some performance gains to be had by switching to SteamOS. While not the most significant life-changing results, performance gains are, at the end of the day, still performance gains. Pre-shader compilation on SteamOS also makes games like Elden Ring run without that annoying stuttering, making it one of the best ways to play games that struggle with shader stutter. Since SteamOS is free, this cost me virtually nothing. So our total cost of our upgraded ROG Ally is a reasonable $680.96, making it cheaper than the ROG Ally X and Legion Go S SteamOS edition, which the major upgrades for those two devices being extra RAM. So overall, the process for making my modded ROG Ally was fairly easy. I did, however, run into a few issues, but the biggest hassle for me was installing the battery. If you would like to watch my experience with that process as well as some directions, go check out that video here. But I believe what I created here is one of the best bang for your buck handheld, especially considering that handheld pricing has honestly gotten out of control. I have more storage now, a bigger, better battery, more precise joysticks that will never drift, and an operating system designed for portable play that slightly improves performance and battery life. This basically resolves most of my gripes with the original ROG Ally, which has made it one of my favorite handhelds, all with a price tag that is cheaper than the Ally X and Legion Go S SteamOS edition. I have always talked about what I wish I had in an ideal handheld, and finally, I got something somewhat close to what I'm looking for, and for a reasonable price at that. So if you like this build, I will link everything in the description so you can build one on your own. But if you found this video informative, leave a like and subscribe for more handheld reviews and tech related videos. Also, you might as well hit that little bell to be the first to know when my next video comes out. This has been Killer Cam. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Peace.